this sucks. So we just got news that Cam Akers, running back for the Los Angeles Rams, has ruptured his Achilles tendon, meaning that he is going to be out for the 2021 NFL season. This really sucks because, Cam Akers was one of those running backs from the 2020 class who gained a lot of value moving from the end of last year to now. He was basically being taken as a consensus RB 6 through 8 in Dynasty startup drafts over the summer, and has a lot of potential and a lot of, hype going around him heading into the 2021 NFL season. And all of that is just gone now. So that really sucks. So we can talk about this from a couple of different standpoints in terms of what did this do for Cam Akers? What does it do for the rest of the Rams and stuff? And just kind of move forward with that. So we can start with Cam Akers first. Obviously, we're playing a Dynasty game, so this doesn't really ultimately impact his Dynasty value, or at least it shouldn't. Obviously, he's going to lose a little bit of value because you're not going to be drafting him in Dynasty startups as high as he was going, because you're not going to have him for the entire year. But, he's still a 22-year-old running back. He's still going to be fantastic whenever he comes back in 2022. The only thing that I could really see being a problem with this, and this was kind of something that I was slightly concerned about with Cam Akers heading into this season, was that we weren't really sure what the dynamic was going to be between the committee for Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. Henderson obviously being the second round pick for the LA Rams just a couple years ago as well. So I was kind of concerned about there being a closer split than what a lot of people wanted to believe that Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson were going to get. So what I could really see happening is, because Darrell Henderson is now going to be the guy for the LA Rams, is that if he shows out and he's actually really good, that is going to be a problem for Cam Akers whenever he comes back in 2022. Because if you see how good Darrell Henderson actually is over a full, 17-game schedule, that's going to be really hard for you to take him off the field then whenever Cam Akers comes back, even though Cam Akers, we all know, is just as good. So that could be really a major problem for Akers. So that's, I think, probably the biggest issue that I have with Akers and his Dynasty value moving forward now with this injury, is because when we talk about him at this point next year, he's going to be coming off an Achilles injury. We're missing the entire year, not playing football for a full year, doing rehab and all that such. And at this point, we don't really know how Darrell Henderson will perform in 2021. But if he performs well, that's going to be hard for, McVay and the Rams to take him off the field in favor of Cam Akers. So that's where I'm at with Cam Akers' Dynasty value. If you're a Darrell Henderson manager and you got him in Scott Fishbowl, if you've been stashing him on your Dynasty leagues, congratulations. You have a starting running back for the 2021 NFL season, and one that you didn't probably expect that you were going to have. Darrell Henderson is probably going to end up being a pretty solid RB2, if not having some RB1 upside in 2021. Actually, if you look at his game log and what he did last year, he started the year in 3 of the first 5 weeks last year with RB1 weeks. He was the RB84 in week 1, RB12 in week 2, RB11 in week 3, RB47 in week 4, and then the RB6 in week 5. Even week 6 and 7, he was an RB27 and RB28. So he started the year out pretty well. Like I said, 3 of the first 5 weeks is an RB1, and then an additional 2 weeks as a high-end RB3, nearly an RB2 in week 6 and 7. And that was on the back of some pretty good volume. In week 2, he had 12 for 81 and 1, had an additional 2 catches for 40 yards. Week 3, he had 20 for 114 and 1, and then also added a reception for 6 yards. Week 5, he had 15 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown, and then also 3 for 30 and 1 through the air. So he had some pretty good volume going for him for the first half of the year, basically up until the Rams bye week. And then obviously we know the second half of the season is really where Cam Akers took over and did his work. You see that Darrell Henderson is at least capable of taking on this workload and being pretty good for fantasy football with that type of workload. So now he is the only guy in town. I do expect, obviously, the Rams to go out and grab somebody. They could grab a guy like Adrian Peterson. They could, get Todd Gurley back, Le'Veon Bell. They could just make a quick move real quick in free agency to add some depth. But no matter who they bring in at this point, it's not going to impact Darrell Henderson. And Darrell Henderson is going to be the guy receiving the lion's share of the carries and receptions. And that was a volume and opportunity that we love from Cam Akers, because we know how much Matthew Stafford loves to throw the ball to the running back from his days in Detroit. We know how Sean McVay can utilize the running back position where we saw, with the volume that Todd Gurley received both through the ground and through the air. So there was a lot of, very juicy opportunity in this Rams backfield that Darrell Henderson is now going to inherit. If you have Darrell Henderson already, congratulations. Like I said, you have a starting RB2 in fantasy with some pretty solid RB1 upside as well on a weekly basis. If you're trading for him right now, that's going to be really tough. I think the biggest question is, should you trade Darrell Henderson now because of this? And if you are a rebuilding team, I would absolutely be looking to capitalize on trading away Darrell Henderson. See if you can get a 2022 first. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but that would be about the asking price where I would start for a team that is looking to compete, because you know that you're going to have a starting running back for the entire year, and you know that he has potential to be an RB1 on any given week. So that is where I would start if you're looking to sell off Darrell Henderson if you are a rebuilding team. If you're a competing team and you held on to Darrell Henderson and you were stashing him, just keep going, I say. I wouldn't really look to trade him away unless if you approach the Cam Akers guy and say, hey, you lost Cam Akers, you might be looking for a replacement. Maybe you can get a pretty solid deal back. But if you're a competing team with Darrell Henderson, I don't really know how you sell at this point. Like, you just kind of got lucky and, got a free RB2/RB1 in your lineup now. So that is at least my quick take on the Cam Akers injury news. This sucks, especially because it's, the end of July. We're basically very, very close to the beginning of the NFL preseason and the beginning of the actual NFL season. And we're already getting these, injuries that we hate to see every single year. And unfortunately, it happens to not only a player that a lot of people were really excited about, but a high upside and highly valued player in both Dynasty and redraft already. So this really sucks, but that is where we're at. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll catch you guys later.